Welcome back, friends and fellow troop members. It is I, your fearless leader, M. You know what? I think it's time for some World's Dumbest Criminals. How do you feel about that? I am personally hoping it's a big fat yes! Because if you didn't already notice from the title of this video, we are going to be meeting 10 more of the world's dumbest criminals. From a woman going to prison for harassing herself to a man burning down his neighbor's house, it's time. Alrighty, bring in the lineup. If you ever feel like your family has problems, just remember this woman's story and it might help you feel a little better next time. For some reason, this woman's identity is being kept a secret, more than likely so no one else harasses her. She claimed that many of her family members were sending her vile things on Facebook. She called police to report them, and after doing some digging, police found something very odd. This woman had way too much free time on her hands, apparently, because she had made fake Facebook profiles for multiple members of her family. She then went on each of these profiles and started sending herself vile and lewd messages. Her main motive was to break up her father and stepmother's marriage. And it almost worked until the police found out she was behind the whole thing. She is now serving 2 years in prison for her false claims. I'm pretty sure this is not a family I would like to sit around a dinner table with. Can you say, awkward? Everyone has seen at least one tasteless April Fool's Day prank. But one mom in South Carolina may have taken the cake for the worst one in history. This 54-year-old mom somehow thought it was a funny idea to text her daughter informing her that there was a school shooting going on at the college she worked at. Like literally anyone would do, the daughter freaked out and called 911 to report an active shooter. Police arrived immediately and a lockdown was initiated. Only no one seemed to be able to locate where the shooting was happening. Well, maybe it was because the mom had made the whole thing up just to prank her daughter. As for Supermom, she needs to learn that there are a number of things that are off limits when it comes to April Fool's jokes. School shootings are definitely on the top of that list. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to buy anything you wanted with just cash? I would have to say a big ol' yes on that one myself. Just like our next friend from North Carolina. One day he walked into a Walmart and started filling up his cart. By the end of his shopping spree, he had a vacuum, a microwave, and a handful of other items, all totaling up to $476. Not a bad trip if you ask me. He walked up to the cashier and was getting ready to pay. He handed the cashier a bill, and she must have had quite the expression on her face after seeing a $1 million banknote. It was the first she had ever seen, and there was a good reason for it too. It's because the biggest legit dollar bill currently in circulation is $100. Our friend was adamant that it was real. He had just hit the mother lode and was now rolling in the dough. Things started escalating until finally a Walmart employee decided it would be best to call the police. They arrived and confirmed that it was indeed fake, and our friend was on his way to jail for trying to spend counterfeit money. If only it were that easy, I'd be rolling in the dough too. Have you ever gone into an interview and you're so confident that you nailed it and there's no way that you won't get that job? Then comes the waiting game. Waiting for that phone call telling you to come in for your first shift. Sometimes you get the call, sometimes you do not. Jevons never got the call. And it wasn't just one interview, it was 20. How could he not get any of those jobs? He had completed those interviews to the best of his abilities. Soon, his disappointment turned into anger and revenge was on the menu. What to do? What to do? Then it came to him. He would mail a letter to each one of the places that rejected him. Inside those envelopes, cat poo. Yes, this man actually gathered up enough cat poo to stick it in 20 envelopes and start mailing it out. Gross. That had to stink. And think of that poor mailman, unknowingly carrying around poo in his pouch. Eventually, police connected the dots and traced the line back to Jevon. He was sentenced to 2 years probation, and I hope that he is also required to not go near a litter box. Or heck, even an outdoor sand pit. Does Does anyone remember that old Far Side comic? The School for the Gifted one? Where the guy is trying to get into the school, pushing on the door with all his might, and right below him is a sign saying pull. Well, it isn't just a comic anymore. A real-life version of this comic landed a burglar in jail when his robbery was thwarted after he tried to pull a door instead of push it to make his escape. That's right, a man tried to rob a Chicago bar one night. Cash in hand, it was time for his great escape. He walked up to the door, confident in his abilities he had, after all, just robbed the bar. He tried to pull the door open to exit the bar, and try he did, with all his might. The darn thing wouldn't budge. After 7 minutes. 7 whole minutes of prying and wiggling and even breaking off some pieces of the door. Police arrived and he was arrested on the spot. Now, I can't seem to find the video of this exact incident, but while looking for it, I realized many burglars make the same mistake. Many people have had that one teacher that they will never forget. Either because of the effort that teacher put into the students' learning or simply just how kind they were. Our next winner, a high school chemistry teacher, he won't be remembered by his students for any of those things. Rather, for an unforgettable birthday celebration. This teacher invited a group of students over to his house for drinks one night. Once everyone was nice and tossed, it was time to go out on the town. Specifically to an adult dance club. The boys would not be doing any dancing though. They were merely spectators to the show. Happy 18th birthday to them! Somehow, word got out, and the teacher is now facing multiple charges since none of the boys were over 21 and only one was just now over 18. There is no way any of those boys will ever forget that teacher. One of the worst things that can happen to a person is having a meal interrupted. Our next friend was not going to let anything interrupt him before finishing his Big Mac. Not even the cops. It was around 1 a.m. and our friend had just sped through an intersection, nearly hitting a pedestrian. The pedestrian then called police. Police eventually caught up with the man just as he was exiting the McDonald's drive-thru. They attempted to pull him over, but he refused. After all, he was hungry. It was his Big Mac and he wanted it now. So instead of pulling over for the police, he decided to finish his Big Mac while leading them on a high-speed chase. He eventually did pull over and told police he was sorry. He just wanted to finish his Big Mac. He also told police he had just drank 10 to 15 beers before his Big Mac adventure. At least he was honest though. And to top it all off, he had no license. Walmart is the ultimate breeding ground for strange things. From the clothing people decide to wear there, to the actions they perform. There really is no other place like Walmart. Now this might just be the strangest thing I have ever heard happening at any Walmart. Michael began talking to Erica one day at Walmart. He began talking to her about shoes and asked her to follow him to the shoe department. She completely believed that he worked for Walmart. She tried on several pairs of shoes, still oblivious to the fact that Michael was not a Walmart employee. That is when things got weird. Why? Michael finally fessed up and told Erica that he was actually a podiatrist and wanted to take some pictures for research, of course. He went to snap a picture, but not before placing Erica's foot in his mouth. She was completely horrified and called the cops, and her husband and Michael was arrested because, lucky him, he didn't need a picture. The whole thing was caught on Walmart's security cameras. Some people look just like they walked out of a magazine. They have all the fashion sense, it seems. And then you have those people who look like they got dressed in a dark closet. And then you have this guy from Georgia. He was arrested for public indecency and some drug charges after running around wearing nothing but high heels and a turban. When police came across our guy, he was hiding behind a tree. He then tried running from police, and at that very moment, he found out something many women are very familiar with. Running in high heels is hard. I know everyone has their own thing, but this guy really needs a new hobby. I know for a fact I have seen a bug or a spider in my house and thought to myself, it's time. to burn the whole house down. I was only joking, of course. Our next friend had a similar problem. He had found a wasp nest in his house. Now, there are many options for getting rid of a wasp nest. One method I would not recommend is burning down your neighbor's house to get rid of said wasp nest. Time to try some DIY extermination. His plan was to smoke them out with a flaming rag on the end of a pole. Yes, I'm gonna put this rag on a stick and light it on fire, was the best solution he could think of. While attempting his DIY project, a gust of wind came across him and led to the house catching on fire during the smoking out process, and it quickly got out of control. It was destroying everything, including the neighbor's house. Fire crews were called, the fire was put out, and our poor friend had quite a nice visit to the jailhouse to contemplate his next big DIY adventure. But hey, with neighbors like these, who needs enemies? Well, I hope you enjoyed another installment of World's Dumbest Criminals. What do you think? Which was your favorite? All that stuff, let me know down below in the comments, and don't forget to smash that like button. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and as always, stay smart, Troop TT.